All right, welcome to the Moz Files. Today, and I'm very excited about today's show. The last episode we did relationships, the building blocks of. I got great feedback on that one. I will continue to put out videos like that. I'm also got some new stuff planned, so make sure you follow, like, share, comment, tell me what you like, what you didn't like, all those things. So today, what are we going to talk about? Well, last time we talked about relationships in the building block of. The reason we started with that one is because you want to know where you're going, so you can know where you need to begin. So today we're going to talk about where you need to begin, and we're going to speak on singleness, how you need to develop yourself within your singleness. That is a issue that a lot of people tend to have. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people feel a need to get out of their singleness. When you're in your singleness, you feel that you might be alone. You start to feel lonely, or you have pressures from other people and other things telling you that you need to do certain things, such as it's time for you to have kids. You need to have kids, and you get pressured into that, and you start thinking about it. Oh, I need to have kids. I need to have kids. Don't let somebody pressure you out of your singleness. People will make you feel weird for being single. Why aren't you in a relationship? You need to be in a relationship. You're getting older. But are you ready to be in a relationship? Don't force it. And then some people try to fill a void in their life. And what I mean by that is you need to understand what you need to do, to be able to love another person. So, in order to love another person, it says you should love Christ first. You should love yourself, because through love of Christ, you will learn to love yourself, and then you will learn to love others. For those who aren't necessarily believers in the word, it still is true that you have to love yourself first before you can love someone else. What I see constantly, and this is a big issue, and it's really a big issue. A person will try and fill a void. They don't truly love themselves. They don't truly understand themselves. So what they do is they try and get with somebody, and they want that person to fill that void. I want you to love me. I want you to understand me. I want you to make me a better me. That is an unfair thing to do, because at the same time, this person is trying to love themselves, understand themselves, and make themselves better. But now you want them to do twice the work because you refuse to do it yourself. So you have to learn to love yourself first. Now, once you do learn to love yourself, and we're going to come back to that subject, don't get me wrong, you then need to date intentionally. That is so important. Today we have this sexual revolution going on, and everybody is very hypersexual. Everything is hypersexual. Everything is sex, sex, sex. Everything. To the point to where we have moved to casual dating. And it's a lot simpler now. You have Tinder, you have Bumble, you have this, you have that. You can now just lay up and have sex, and you don't have to have any commitment. I constantly say this, that the whole sexual liberation movement with women is not a positive thing. That is some things that are said, and a lot of people get upset when they hear that. They're like, well, why is that not a positive thing? Because you have to look at it like this. Before, when a woman was picking who she was sleeping with based on the future she felt they had, men had to kind of step up a little bit more. We had to be better providers. We had to be better protection. You needed to be a better leader. She needed to actually see something in you a little bit more before she wanted to just mess around with you. Whereas today, you can just have sex. You don't have to do anything. I don't need to show you anything. I don't need to show you my worth. I don't need to show you what I can provide. I don't have to do any of that stuff, because it's easy, and we think that we're winning, but that's not winning. That is actually a setback for us. And it's actually because you're sharing your soul with so many different people that you're starting to feel a little broken. And sexual liberation is not the answer. Just, I'm feeling sad, I'm going to go sleep with someone. That's not the answer. So you need to date with intentions. You need to date, you need to say, hey, this person, I can see them as my future wife. Or, hey, I can see this person as my future husband. You need to see a future in someone. And also, you need to know where you are going. Do not hop in a car that you don't know where it's going. Don't get on a bus and you don't know where it's going. Don't get on a plane, you don't know where it's going. You wouldn't do most of this stuff. Most of the time you get on something, you know where it's going. But yet in relationships, we don't do the same thing. Why don't you give yourself the same respect? You know that you are in point A and you're trying to get to point B, A to B. But for some reason, you're riding along and you're going from A to C to E to F to D, and now you're going to H and I. You're going everywhere but to that point that you needed to be in. And I'm telling you right now, if you stay on that path of just going everywhere without knowing where you are going, you're a fool. You're just wasting time. You're not dating with intention. You're just along for the ride. So when you ask somebody, hey, what do you see as our future? A person will usually tell you what they see when they start to stutter, when they, well, I see like there's potential, and they start doing all that. They don't see a future with you. Get out the car. You need to find a different ride. All right. Now, the next part is marriage. So you go from your singleness to your intentional dating to marriage. That's that next part. You need to intentionally date to get to marriage. Then you have children, and then you want to repeat. The reason I say repeat is because even when you are married, you still don't want to settle. That is a huge thing that's leading to divorce. If you go talk to divorced people, find you some divorced men, some divorced women, ask them, when did things start to get wrong? Things got wrong when they no longer had a goal. They no longer had a project. They no longer had something to work on. They had completed their steps and then they stopped. And that's a big issue as well. So you want to keep working on yourself, because when you work on yourself, you're then working still for your spouse. You go on dates. You take care of yourself. You're bettering yourself. You learn a new language. You take a small class to get a little understanding on something, maybe to help y'all with y'all's finances. But you need to continue to work on yourself and work on your relationship. So that's why I always say. So that's why they say that you need to repeat. Now, your singleness. Why is that so important? Why is it so important? Why do you need to love yourself before you can love someone else? Because, as I said earlier, you don't want to give them the double work, the work of doing what you had to do, as well as you don't want to keep pouring yourself out for things that won't get you to where you need to be. This goes back into what we spoke about on the last video. We talk about your duties, your loyalty, and your respect. We talk about submission, and we talk about loving as Christ loved the church. So when I spoke on submission, I spoke about how the word is misused. A lot of people hear submission and they don't want the submission because it sounds like, oh, that sounds like slavery or something. I'm supposed to submit. And the reason why is because you did not properly perform your duties. You didn't, and that's your pre-duties, your singleness duties, and you submitted to a person who caused trauma. Why? Because they did not love you as Christ loved the church. Most people use that word, I love you, I love you, I love you. There's a couple right now saying I love you, and neither one of them love each other. And the reason I say that is because if you love someone, you truly love someone, you are willing to sacrifice for that someone. You are willing to share your plate with that person. And most people who use that word, I love you, they're not ready for that. And you can see that they're not ready for that. And you still give your all because you think maybe they can change. Listen to me when I say this. If you have to pray a person's bad away, you are in the wrong spot. Stop trying to pray someone's bad away. Oh, Lord, if you can get them off of this addiction. Oh, Lord, if you can get them to stop stealing. If you can get them to stop harming me. If you can stop the abuse. You're praying that bad away. No, you need to get away. That person is not ready for you. They're not ready for anyone. They're not ready for life. They do not love themselves. And that's where the trauma comes, because that person will use you. You love them and you love them properly, but they don't love you. They will take off your plate, and they will continuously take off your plate until your plate is empty. They will then use you and your want to sacrifice as a shield. I'm going to grab you. I'm going to use you. You're my shield. You're ready to sacrifice yourself for me because you love me. So I'm going to use you as my shield. They will drag you. And then when it's all said and done, once you've given your all, once you have given everything you had, once you have sacrificed everything you had, they will then leave you. And you will feel battered. You will feel bruised, used, alone, and afraid to love again. Why? Because you loved at the wrong time. You loved the wrong person, and that person told you they weren't going to love you properly, but you felt a need to pray that bad away instead of just getting away and finding where you need to be. It said that the Lord made the trees grow. So when the Lord wants to invest into something, once he wants to put into something, he will make it grow. But that it is according to his plan. He chooses what will grow. You don't choose what will grow. So when you are in these situations where you need this tree to grow, where you need this tree to grow, not the Lord, that tree is not going to grow. So you need to get to a place where you are now putting in on a tree that Christ meant for you to be around for it to grow. You understand? Another thing is opening up yourself too much in your singleness. You have to, and I don't mean in a selfish way. Understand that we are supposed to develop these relationships. You're not meant to be alone. You're not. The Lord has a plan for you, and he wants you to have relationships. We as people need to have relationships, whether it's family, a personal relationship, in the community. We need relationships. However, you do not need to open up for everything. The way you want to think of this is if you have a bucket of water and you say you want to open up. I want to open up. I want to share my water. I have plenty of water. Let me help those around me. So you take this bucket and you take the lid off. And you say, I'm here to help you. I want to help y'all. And everybody walks by and they dip that cup in the bucket of water. And they dip it. And they dip. And they come by and they keep dipping and keep dipping. And you're so worried about sharing and being open that you don't notice how many cups have been dipped in your bucket. You go home that night and you go, oh, I haven't had any water. Well, what do I got in my bucket? I should have some water. I had plenty of water. And you look in there and there's a few drops of water. And you drink those few drops of water. But you went all day without the water. So now you are left thirsty. You're left empty. You're now in need of water. Why is this bad? Because you were so busy opening yourself and giving out everything to the point to where you have nothing left to give, and this and somebody comes and they tap you on your shoulder and they go, "You look a bit thirsty." And you're like, "That's right, I am thirsty." "Well, here's some water." And they give you a cup of water and you drink that water. You're so happy because you were so thirsty, you were so empty, that you forgot to check who gave you this water. You just let somebody random come up to you and give you some water, and you drink it, and now you look at them as somebody who saved you, somebody who helped you. But this person may be unqualified. But because of what they just did, you just put them in a qualified position. All because you were left empty. You were left thirsty. You need to be careful who you are opening to and who you are giving what to, because you don't want to leave yourself in a vulnerable position. All right? So, with working on yourself, you need to work on who is surrounding you. You know, who are my friends? What family is helping me? What is your echo chamber? All right, because and I feel very strongly about this. Never put yourself in a single echo chamber if you want to be married. Why? Because single people want to keep you single. You are the one, if you're working on yourself, and they're going to want to steal your energy. They want to keep you single. They will tell you things to keep you single. And it might seem like good advice at the time, but it's not. You need to get around married people. All right? Because you're just going to be misled just sitting around with single people all day, having single ideas, having single conversations. No, you need to develop yourself. Get around some people that are married. If you want to be married, get around people who you see yourself wanting to be like in the future. If you are a religious person, get around a community, your religious community. Go to a church where they do development, group sessions, things like that. Involve yourself with people that you can see yourself being like. That's that law of attraction, that the manifesting. Because I'm not a fan of manifesting the way that people look at it today. People keep saying, "Oh, I want to manifest it. I'm going to think it, and it's going to happen. I'm going to keep thinking it. I'm going to keep thinking it." I can lay down in my bed right now, and I can wish that I was rich. But all that will happen when I'm just going to lay in the bed and I wish I was rich. I wish I was rich. And I'm going to lay there and I'm going to wait until money starts falling from my ceiling, and all of a sudden I have $1 million. No, it does not work like that. You have to surround yourself around people who think like that, who move like that, people who already have that. You have to surround yourself around these people to be more like them. If you want to live in the image of Christ, be around others who want to live in the image of Christ. Because if you surround yourself around people who don't see that at all, I don't do that at all. I'm atheist. I'm this. I'm that. All you're doing is you're giving energy to something that doesn't develop you. Use your energy for something that will develop you. So that's developing yourself, putting yourself in position for development, putting yourself in position to find yourself, to love yourself. All right? Because you cannot love without loving yourself. If you look in the mirror and you go, "I've got this flaw, this flaw, this flaw, this flaw," you just name off all your flaws, and you get with somebody and you love that person. You could say, "Oh, my nose is too big. I hate my nose. I hate it." And one day your significant other is like, "You're so cute." He's like, "I love your nose." You're like, "You have a cute little nose." Something like that. Now you are questioning that person. "Oh, I know my nose is a flaw." what's wrong with them? Something's going on. They're cheating. Why is he being so nice to me? Why is she being so nice to me? Something's wrong. Why? Because you don't love yourself. You don't know how to take that compliment. All you see is flaws in yourself. You're not ready for that relationship. You need to work on yourself. Um, and back to that echo chamber, and the thing that you really don't want to be around is somebody who tells you that where you want to be is negative. I call it or you can call it the Bobby Boucher's mother, where she always said, "Oh, football's the devil, girls are the devil, this is the devil, that's the devil." And you remember that? You don't want to be around Bobby's mom. Bobby's mom is going to tell you that everything is the devil. Everything you want to do, everything you want to achieve, all of that is the devil. Don't be around somebody that's going to do that to you. Why? Because you cannot grow with that person around you. You cannot grow with that negativity. So you have to grow yourself in your singleness. At the same time, that single moment, that the reason it's such a good time, your singleness, is because it's the most time you can develop yourself. Some people already are in relationships. Some people are already married, and they're still needing to develop themselves. They're still needing to find themselves, love themselves. But they already have a spouse. They already have a kid. They have bills. They have this and that. They can't really find the time to find themselves, and so things get hard, things get stressful, everything starts to weigh on you, the world feels pressured, all those things will lead to a divorce, and that is absolutely not what you want. It's because it's tough. You have to find time to work on yourself. So while you're in that single phase, that's what you want to look for. Develop yourself, find yourself, learn, love yourself, things like that. Um, but yeah, in general in life, you do need relationships. We have been taught that relationships are bad. We all look at relationships and we think of the negatives of them. Why? Because that keeps you weak. All right? You want to break the family. You want to break the family traditions. You want to break the household. You want to break all that down. Why? Because it keeps us weak. The more broken, the more separate we are, the weaker we are. We're just little worker bees who don't understand what's going on. We need family traditions. We need relationships with each other. We need relationships with our family. We need relationships within our community. We need to keep the household strong. Why? Because it makes us stronger as a whole. So relationships is nothing to be scared of. But yet, right now, we're in this movement of independent. It's just me by myself. I can do it all by myself. I don't need anybody's help. And we're fighting each other and we don't even know why. But we just need to fight each other. We need to be alone. We need to be independent, and we need to have my own thought. No, that's not how that works. We need to be together, and that is something that we need to work on. And I will definitely get into that conversation in another video. That's all for this one. I will go a little bit more in depth on this at a later time. But once again, like, share, comment, let me know what you think. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and I'm out.